Hey VC, Mazzy here, and this video is based on a couple requests I got. In the background is Tal Farlow on Verve. This was recorded in 1956, produced by Norman Granz, the Verve head honcho. So that's what we're listening to, kind of. So the request was about, I think in one of my videos that I'm in my CD office music room, which is right adjacent, right next door to my vinyl library. And one of the videos I shot here, someone noticed a few little items on the box shelf, on the shelf of my CD wall, and they were asking about it. I think they were asking about Uncle, which is electronica CDs. So I thought I'd just pull, this is not a whack-a-mole, but I'm going to pull some random CDs. I'm going to choose them, look at them, just showcase to kind of show you. I still buy CDs, not as much as vinyl, although CDs are the sort of the format I prefer when it comes to outtakes and expanded box sets. You saw, some of you might have seen my couple of videos back. You can search back on them on CD box sets. And I load them on hard drive, and it's a great fun thing to do. Now in here, just to give you a little background, let me show you. I think I just showed this before, but I have these vintage JBL L100 speakers. Right there, they were refurbished. I actually had a pair that I bought in 1975. My girlfriend thought I was crazy when I bought them because they were $600 a pair there. A lot of really hoity-toity audiophiles really dislike the original JBL 100s, thinks they're a little boomy, bass heavy. I think they're a great speaker for what they are. I get what they're talking about. They're a great rock and roll speaker. They have sort of a bass, heavy bass response. So probably a lot of the modern, the kids, you kids who like that kind of boomy sound might like these. But JBL actually just put a new version about a year and a half ago of the JBLs, and now they sell like for $4,000, which when you think about it is probably equivalent of $600 in 1975, give or take. But they've improved them, the way they configured the bass. I don't get all technical here, that's not for me to do, but anyway, that's what we're listening to, that Tal Farlow album. So I'm going to grab some things and showcase some things here. Just some kind of fun things. There's probably a few more, but to start with, Uncle, UNKLE. It's called Never Neverland. Electronica artists, and I don't even remember their names. I'm not a big electronica knowledgeable person, but this is a great, I really was listening to a lot of electronica stuff from around late 90s to 2010, give or take. Obviously I love the kind of artistic packaging and sampling, electronica, what are their names? You guys will know more than I do, but beautiful little book. Remix engineers, electric, fusing things. Let's see here. You know, I'm probably not the good person to showcase this like I do with some of my whack-a-moles where I know who produced it and who plays on what and who remixed what. But this is is it a double CD or a single CD set? I thought it was a double, but I only see one CD here. Two CDs. It is a double CD. But as you know, I've showed some expanded box sets that I really, really enjoy. So there you go. Nusrat Fateh Ali Khan, the final studio recordings. This is produced by Rick Rubin, and these are really great records. Where did he record these? Anyway, he died, when did he die? Like in the early 2000s, give or take. But highly suggested. This is kind of a nice collection. I have a lot of his music, or several of his albums on CD here. And so this is a 2-disc set produced, came out actually in, I don't know, 2004. Maybe, that could be wrong. There you go. Just Automatic for the People, REM. This was when Warner Brothers and REM were doing these kind of limited edition versions of their CDs. This one came in a wooden box right when the album came out. And that's when I was working hard and working a lot, and would go for these special editions with the CD and beautiful separate art prints. This must be a better way of doing this, but you know, you get Bill Berry. Bill Berry, drummer, former drummer of REM. And you get Peter Buck pumping his own gas, which means he's not in the state of Oregon there. I know he's living in Portland for a while, lived in Seattle for a while too. But did you know you can't pump your own gas in the state of Oregon? There's probably other states like that too. So I don't know if you know about Rhino Handmade. Rhino Records did for a while when they were really grooving in their big CD heyday. They would have a site called Rhino Handmade where they do limited edition CD box sets. And I showed some of them in the box set things, or single or double albums. This was Bradley's Barn. Now this came out, I think it was Craft Recording on Record Store Day last year. And I ate that up because I love Bradley's Barn. This is where Beau Brummels did a sort of a country rock album in 1968 at Owen Bradley's Barn, a recording studio. And this came out very close to the time of Sweetheart of the Rodeo. So it could give that a run for the money of one of the early first country rock albums, folk country rock based, Sal Valentino and Company. And this is the first time it was released with a whole second disc of alternate versions, second takes, which is on the double album that came out for Record Store Day on vinyl. But this is great. So I've been listening to this music, you know, for well over a decade, early 2000s even, so maybe 15 plus years. So that was sitting on the shelf, on the stand-up shelf. Another little cool box, one of those essential album box sets out of Universal France. Serge Gainsbourg, if you know Serge Gainsbourg, very popular in the whole 60s, 70s, French pop music. Great composer, orchestrator, arranger, worked with, and I think he was married to Jane Birkin. Worked with a lot of the French ingenues here. And these are fun collections too, because you get your Serge Gainsbourg book, and you get all the individual albums. And I think I've mentioned within all these albums, I'm not going to show them all, but the one that you all should get, you know, try to get it on vinyl. There are soundtracks and things like that. Do I have it here? It might not even be here. That's not in this collection. Never mind then. But you get the idea. Serge Gainsbourg, French pop. I think there's some people around the VC have done some videos on French pop, but it's another genre that I kind of take to. I don't have everything, but I have a lot of Jane Birkin, and I have you know, some Brigitte Bardot and the whole Gigi girls. You've probably seen it upstairs near my turntable. I have a book of the whole genre there. Let's see what else we got here. Some Grateful Dead boxes. I'm not going to pull Grateful Dead right now. John Fahey. Okay. Cool set. CD and video. Dead Can Dance. This is 1981 to 1998. 3 CDs and a DVD. I love Dead Can Dance. Ambient, ethnic, international, worldly UK artists. beautiful package, beautiful book of photographs and artwork and recording details, which you can't even see. Why do I show that? You can't see that, right? But again, mixing genres. I like this kind of ambient sound. It's got a little more drive to it. Just beautiful, beautiful music. And I don't know, what can I say? What else can I say? Can you say, Maslov? So Brendan Perry and Lisa Gerrard, Our Dead Can Dance. That's the two of them. Lisa Gerrard has a number of solo albums and solo hybrid projects. She's the voice on the beautiful soundtrack to the motion picture Gladiator, the Ridley Scott film, which I love that film. It's a great movie. Not fun movie. Fun movie when they're ripping people apart. But cool movie. Now, I love this. This is about, talk about switching and fusing genres. Bluegrass. Doc and Merle Watson. I happened to see one of these shows. These were recorded at the boarding house in San Francisco in May of 1974. They did a week of shows at the boarding house. Small club on Bush Street in Taylor. Now it's a high-rise building, of course. You know, they always tear down Paradise and put up a parking lot. Pay Paradise, put up a parking lot, Joni Mitchell says. And it's happening too much in all these cities right now with great, not just music, but art, music venues and all kinds of, the tradition is going fast and furious in America and around the world. That's a whole other video. Stop doing that, I tell myself. This is one of the first of a series of called Bear's Sonic Journals. And Bear is Owsley, who was Owsley Stanley, who was worked for the Grateful Dead amongst other artists, but mainly the Grateful Dead as a sound designer, and designed their whole initial wall of sound for the Grateful Dead. They started in, I think, 73, 4. I first saw it at the Cow Palace when they used that big mother of a sound system. You know, you Grateful Dead heads out there will know what I'm talking about. But he was a great recording audiophile to a point, and now his old kind of foundation is putting out a series of box sets. There was a Hot Tuna box set earlier this year. Actually, that was only a 2-disc. Based on the first shows that he recorded that were made into the very first Hot Tuna record. This is the entire boarding house series. I went to one of these shows. All the shows, Doc and Merle Watson. I don't know if you know Doc, him and his son, Doc Watson. Guitar, vocals, harmonica. Merle Watson, guitar, steel guitar, banjo. If you love bluegrass, I think there might be a smaller version, a condensed version, but in a way, I think it's essential. And it's got every show, including the introductions and the on-stage banter. Again, a small club that maybe holds less than 100 people, 150 people, maybe not even that. They had a downstairs room too. You could have dinner before the shows. And a great venue. I saw Emmylou Harris there, the Talking Heads there, Patti Smith, Steve Martin, Bob Marley and the Wailers, Emmylou Harris, Kinky Friedman and his Texas Jew Boys. I used to go there a lot. Who else? God, so many shows. Anyway. Bear's Sonic Journals, Doc and Merle Watson from 1974. Again, another one. Let's see what else we have here. Kind of all over the place going here. Now this came out just on a Record Store Day 2, but this put out by Sony, a license I think through Sundazed. But Skip Spence's Ore. This is Ore and Ore Again. Skip Spence was the troubled, one of the original members of Moby Grape. Did this album early 70s. it totally bombed. I never even got it then. It became this cult album. There was an album put out in the 90s or 2000s called More Ore, where all the hipster artists of the day would cover songs from this album. It's ethereal, it's folky, it's kind of that like psych folk minimalism. But this is the first time it came out as a 3-record set that has all the outtakes and demos and works in progress. But I love this this collection. That was the original cover of the record, pretty much. That kind of really showcases what he was about at the time. Kind of went crazy. You know, he's one of those manic, bipolar drug casualties of the 60s, 70s. But he made beautiful music. If you're into that very minimal, sometimes out of tune, sometimes rough, kind of like if you saw my video I just posted over the weekend of Scout Niblett, indie artists who, it's not about your guitar being in tune or the perfect vocals, and to me I prefer that over a lot of other types of music that's too perfect. That would be a great concept about artists that just aren't perfect, but you know, you could talk about people like Dylan and they're not about great voices or anything. This is a new release, new issue I should say. Mike McGear, it's called McGear. Mike McGear, born as Michael McCartney, the young brother of Beatle Paul McCartney, and he was a member of Scaffold, which was a musical comedy troupe, kind of in the vein and before after the Goon Show, the Goons, and before Monty Python. They're sort of a musical comedy troupe out of Liverpool, and Roger McGough, Mike McGear, and I forgot the third guy, but McGear and McGough did several albums together too, and I have all those on vinyl. But in 1974, Paul McCartney produced this album for his brother, calling it McGear, and it's basically a Wings album with Mike McGear leading it. Paul McCartney produced it, Paul Linder on it, Denny Lane, I believe, is on it, and it's really good. It's really got that 70s Wings thing, but with Michael McGear, because he changed his name early on to McGear because he didn't want to sponge off the brother Paulie's name. He's also a photographer, and if you've seen the pictures of my Whack-A-Mole office record room, there's some photographs on the wall. And a friend of mine, when he passed away about 6 years ago, left me in his will one of Mike McGear's signed photographs of early the Beatles in their living room. This expanded version that just came out has outtakes, alternate versions, a remastered version, a booklet, you know, the usual extra rubbish, as they say. That's how he looks today. Got the McCartney look. There's a little poster in there. It came out on vinyl and compact discs, and he covers Sea Breezes on here, which was a Roxy Music song, and everything else is pretty much original compositions. There's also a DVD in here. I think lastly for now, again, just showcasing, and if you want me to do any more of these down the line, let me know. I don't want to do them like Whack-A-Mole, because I'll just pick them. I'm not going to go whack my CDs and mold my CDs. This is fun. XTC, Transistor Blast. When did this come out? This is a limited edition that came out, I don't remember, probably the 90s. This is the best of the BBC sessions of XTC. XTC, a band I only saw once live at the Stone on Broadway in San Francisco, because those of you who know XTC pretty well, they hardly toured, especially in America, because Andy Partridge sort of had a phobia of playing live. But I'm a massive XTC fan. And if you know Dukes of the Stratosphere, their other project, which was XTC under another name, doing 2 psychedelic albums, with it that are really fun records, along out of print, are coming back and being reissued. October, November, you can pre-order them. I'm not going to say here because I don't sell records here with vinyl or CD remastered. I think there might even be a surround version. I'm not sure if those are the ones Steven Wilson is working on and remastering. But this is a fun package. Look at these CDs. This is where CDs shine, when you get into fun shit like this, right? Hold for the freeze frame. No, that's not a good one. How about this? Click. It's so campy. Anyway, XTC, Transistor Blast, the best of the BBC sessions. Mazzy continues to love you, and Mazzy continues to showcase his collection, as he says in the third person. So Mazzy loves you, and thanks for watching, VC. Next time.